Hi there, welcome back to Andertons TV. This is Rob from the Pro Audio department. I'm with Martin, and today we're looking at Ableton Live 9. How you doing, Martin? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks,
cool.
Rob. Yeah, so I'm here to talk about Live 9 and how guitar players might use it. I'm an Ableton certified trainer, and I also work for Music Tech magazine, amongst other things. Like everything I do is about live and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm quite immersed in it. I also play guitar a little bit. So we'll talk about how we can use it with guitars, because I think it's still a bit of an underappreciated
definitely
thing. So, in case you don't know, we're talking about Live 9 here. We've also got some news actually.
Yes,
later
very
as
big
well.
news.
So
we'll leave that to the end. Though.
Stay with us for that.
Yeah.
So Live 9 as it is you can use it as a DAW. You can use it in the studio or at home to record multi-tracks of audio or MIDI, just as you'd expect. But the interesting thing with Live is that you can take it out with you on tour, take it on stage, take it to rehearsals, and you can use the same familiar interface and the same tools to record your band or play backing tracks or process and record your guitar or other instruments.
So it can do pretty much everything.
Yeah, so it's really good because it means that you don't have to duplicate, if you've used one DAW at home to create all your tracks.
Yeah.
And then when it's time to play live, you've kind of
got to do all of it. Yeah.
Okay. So Live will kind of take a lot of that away from you. So from a guitar player point of view, as I said, you can use it for backing tracks. And as far as the processing goes, it does have some native effects built in that you can use straight away if you really want to commit to using a computer.
Okay.
You have devices. You have one called Amp. I think we can guess kind of where we're going with these these device names. So we have Amp, and then of course we have Cabinets. And these are very good modeling solutions that you can use with presets as well, that you can dial up straight out of the box. So you can kind of use it straight away. You don't have to start from ground zero and kind of work it out for yourself. And then there are other effects that would go with those. Of course, there are delays, reverbs, there's a flanger and so on. There's also some drive and saturation effects too. So you can use the presets that are included with Live to get going with this quite quickly, or else you can create your own chains, which are called effects racks. So you can have an effects rack that you can recall at any point that has your favorite combinations of those things loaded. Yeah. So it's very flexible. I said you can, because you're playing along to backing tracks in here if you want. Yeah. Live is very flexible for that as well. Even if you're using audio material in Live, you can either play along to Live as you'd expect, and Live can be the sync kind of master.
Yeah, to be the brain of the performance.
Yeah. But also, if you've got a drummer who has a MIDI pad or something you can tap tempo with, the software can follow the band. So it's not like you're playing along to something like other types of DAW we might mention, where you hit play and that's it. You can speed up and slow down.
So it's a bit more flexible.
Yeah, it's very flexible. It will always stay with you.
Oh, great. So I mean, if I was a guitarist and I wanted to use Ableton for everything, so I'd do all of my guitar emulations, all of my actual production, and then my mixing. Is that fully capable? Yeah,
it can do all of that. You have dynamics processors, you have multi-band dynamics, you have EQs, you have compressors that you can use. It will kind of do everything. I mean, personally, I've been experimenting recently with kind of just doing everything I can within Live.
Just within the box, no external plugins?
Including mastering as well.
Right.
And that's good practice because, again, you've just, you can use the master channel processing Live as well to fatten up your sound, to enhance your sound. Right. So everything you learn or use in the studio becomes something you can look at on stage as well. And then of course we've got Push. Push is a great kind of front end for Live. Obviously you're a guitar player, your hands are probably full of guitar, but if you want something that's like a remote control or an alternative selection to using keyboards, Push will come in and do that. Push will let you handle kind of most of Live's kind of core functions. You can even add and remove tracks from Push without having to look at a computer.
So it's giving you like a standalone emulation almost.
Yeah. Everything you see in here, everything you can see all the device parameters in here. You can add other instruments. You can browse your library. You can load samples, whatever you need to do. And it does make a difference Live, because I see so many people, so many bands where they have a MacBook or they have whatever on stage, and they can't stop looking at it. It's like if you're in the pub and there's a massive screen showing football. Even if you're not interested, everyone talk. Like this,
it's making it more of an instrument, I suppose, than just a computer.
There is a music equivalent of that holding your pipe thing. You know? And I see a lot, and especially for anybody who's singing or trying to interact with the audience. I've always felt as an audience member, it's very distracting. So to have something like push, you know, you could have your computer behind you or somewhere out the way. You're still going to need the computer because this doesn't. It's not a standalone device.
Yeah.
No. But this is, you know, this is much more on the level of using like a workstation keyboard or something. That is not going to. I guess if you've got loads of pretty lights on here, you might be tempted, but really it's a bit easier to keep that in context as being like an instrument interface.
So being like an instrument, say a guitarist wants to use this as a live looping sort of product, something like that. That would be ideal because then you could loop stuff and then add on top of it. In theory. Yeah, live is very good for live looping, and push will give you the front end to punch in and out. Of course, as I said, if your hands are really full, you might need some MIDI. You know, you can use a MIDI pedal board as well. Okay, I mean, has this got a sustain switch in it at all?
Yeah.
So you could use that as well if you wanted to use that as a floor switch.
That's kind of limited to only working with sustain options.
Okay.
So you can't use that as a freely assignable MIDI input. So you'd have to have like
an external MIDI thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the other modelling products would have a MIDI pedal board.
Oh right.
Like the Line 6 stuff.
Yeah.
So there's lots of options for that.
Okay.
Because obviously there's times we're going to be busy, but also like if you want to break out and play some keyboard skills or whatever, you can play your keyboard parts on here. You can, if you like real-time programming, you can go into drum mode on here and program some beats during your set. However, you know, it's whatever you want it to be. Basically.
Okay. Cool. I mean, it sounds as if it could be integrated into anyone's live set and the production side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the guitar stuff, going back to the amp and the cabinet stuff, have you got any examples of what that sounds like on there?
Yeah. Okay, so let's find something on here. I've got like a... let's find something. Okay. So I've got like a clean guitar part here. Let me just turn off the parts first. The other thing, of course, for using this, you know, something like live is that you can record with effects in place, and then, you know, they're not embedded in the audio file. Okay. So you can still turn that off afterwards and reamp or do whatever you need to do. So here's like just a simple,
just clean part.
Yeah, and then I can turn this on. This is one of the presets actually that comes in the live library, and this is a rack that we talked about where it contains many different. Let's just turn off that gate as well. I've got a little gate on there. It can be useful. And then you can see you've got lots of controls here.
Yeah, definitely.
This is actually running 2 different cabinets at once in the chain. So there's lots of stuff you can do in there, and there's a whole library of those in here under amp simulation.
Oh, right, so there's a load of them to choose from as well as make your own.
And of course, if you really have a personal favourite, you know, third-party plugin or third-party modelling solution, you know, Live runs audio units and VSTs as well. So
you can combine them as well.
Yeah. And you can save all of that in one rack, as we call them, that contains, you know, the live content and the third-party parts as well.
So you could have an Ableton unit, then a third-party plugin mixed together in a... Yeah, that's really cool.
So there's times where you have to kind of ignore that because it's like too much choice, you know. So sometimes it's better off just to get like one really good clean sound and work at that for a while. But you can, as I say, you can add delays. Once you start splitting up and using multiple amps in a chain, of course, you can do all kinds of stuff like put different effects on one of the amps. Yeah. You can use an EQ to split the frequencies that each amp is handling. Yeah. So on the high end, you have like a delay only, you know, that kind of thing. Sure. You can EQ the other amp differently. It's really flexible for that. So as I said, you know, the great thing is you can record a part and you can change your mind afterwards about what you use. It's the same as if you're recording vocals or whatever. You can give the vocalist tons of reverb.
When you're recording it, then go back and reprocess it.
Then when they're out of the room, you turn it off. Yeah, and then of course also we got warping in live. We got you know, we can time stretch audio so we can correct it. Of course, we all play perfectly, but if any of us didn't happen to play perfectly, we can use warping. That's what these markers are, these yellow warp markers, and we can automatically quantize our audio, or we can physically interact with it and move it around.
Okay, so you can move it to the grid almost. Yeah. Okay.
And of course with guitars you don't always, typically I would personally not use that as a routine thing, but sometimes you just want to, you know, if you've got a really good take and you just want to fix one little part. Just
one part is off, you can go back and it's worth using.
Yeah. So the other thing then that happens is we can't do it in real time, but once we've got a recorded guitar part. So we're kind of going back to our studio. So we've got this fantastic part that I recorded earlier. We have another thing we can do. We can go on here, we can choose convert to new MIDI track.
Right.
And we can convert those. So that's the same part that we just heard in here. And then what I've done is I've converted to a MIDI part.
So that's now MIDI. You can use any VST with that.
Yeah, we can see the notes. It's not something I want to do live on video to play this because my timing will probably go crazy. Can't do it when you're looking at me. But you can load any instruments or any other MIDI effects we want here. I've used the pitch effect to raise it from the original pitch it was recorded at.
So even that's flexible as well.
Yeah, you can turn on the scale plugin. You can start restricting the notes to certain scales, whatever you want to do. You can put an arpeggiator on there just to add more layers to it, whatever you want to do. And then also we had a chord as well that I've recorded, or 2 chords. Right? So that's for 2 chords I recorded. That's using the same
chain,
sounds that I used before. And then I've also converted that one, and we've turned that into a, let's see,
piano.
Yeah, so you can play it together.
Wow.
So you can really start using the guitar.
That is crazy good for guitarists. If they're just a guitarist out and out and they want to start making productions and they're not a keys player or anything like that, they can just get the ideas down in audio from the guitar and then build a production from that. Yeah,
you can do, if you want to do all your bass parts, do the keyboards, you say, do anything, do the pads, whatever you want to do. If you can play it on a guitar, you can get in here and convert it.
Wow.
So it's kind of interesting, you have to, it makes you think about your technique as well, because it's going to pick up all those sloppy notes that you normally tell yourself aren't there. Normally you go, that'll be all right. And sometimes it will pick those up. But even that sometimes is part of the fun, because sometimes you'll play something and it won't do what you think it was going to do. And you can go with that as well. We have different modes for that. So you can, based on what kind of material you're using, you can see, on the guitar side of things, you've got harmony. So if you're using a chord, which is what I used to convert that chord, you're kind of giving the software a clue to expect.
And obviously with a melody,
one note at a time. A melody is single note stuff. So if you're doing like a guitar solo or a bass part or something, it's going to do that. And it does make a slight difference, but also it's very important to remember there's no rules for that. You can you can deliberately choose the wrong one just to see what it does.
Okay.
So that can be quite interesting.
Because it will work in different ways and get different sort of outcomes.
Yeah, especially if you start using the drum ones as well.
I saw that, yeah. So how would that work?
That's the same kind of thing. So if you had a drum loop, which of course I probably haven't got, let's have a look in here. I've got like a recording from a drum machine. That's from my machine drum. So let's try that. If we just want to see that happening, we can go convert drums to new MIDI track, and we'll see what it does. This will be interesting. I just recorded that in last night. So
it creates a new MIDI channel.
Yeah, it automatically makes a new MIDI track. It loads the default drum kit, which you can change.
Yeah.
So
it's just into a drum rack.
Don't feel bound by that. There's the parts. So let's have a.
That's not bad.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's coming from a drum machine anyway, so it's very precise already.
But you can go in and change the sounds, clean it up.
Yeah, we can do whatever we like, and of course you can add, if you want to put a filter on there or whatever you want to do, you can do all that stuff as well. Yeah, anything to, let's just use that because it's kind of easy to hear. So you can record any kind of incoming sound and quite quickly turn it into something else. I mean, you can use speech, if you're more of the experimental kind of person, you can use speech recordings and try and turn those into beats.
So if someone wanted to get their idea out of their head onto the page and they wanted to beatbox it or something like that, would that be something that should be useful for?
Yeah, it does work. It works great with beatboxing, yeah.
That's a great workflow. If you just get the ideas out, the first thing you can do is make a beatbox of it and then be able to convert that. That's really powerful.
Yeah. So it's incredibly organic. If you come from a history of programming and sequencing and that kind of thing, you can really get in there and you can use push and you can use this keyboard or any keyboard. But also, as you say, if you come from beatboxing or playing instruments, there's no reason to. Why would you stop doing that?
Yeah,
any software that makes you stop doing that is wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one of the issues, you know, that I really want to put across with live is that there still has this leftover perception, this for like techno.
Yeah, it's the techno EDM users.
Yeah, or DJs. People, oh, live, isn't it, that DJ program? But it works really well. So, you know, there's loads of stuff you can use for guitars.
It's quite a stigma, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people using it who are on EDM, dance music. But from what you've said and you've shown us, there's no reason you couldn't use it as a live band or a guitarist. Yeah,
there are a lot of bands using it now. It's funny how you can talk to people. I have talked to people who are like touring with country artists and stuff, and you start talking about what you do and things, and they kind of go, oh, yeah, we're using live on tour. So it's like really permeated through, you know, jazz and country and whatever, but it's just not always seen that way.
It's just the idea of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's good, you know. So we talked about what's good for guitar players in 9. And then, of course, we mentioned there's some news as well.
Big news. We need a drum roll.
Yeah, drum roll.
So
we can now announce Ableton Live 10.
Live 10. A lot of people have been waiting for that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been quite a long time.
How many years has it been out, Live 9?
4 years.
4 years.
I think.
So 4 years in the making.
Tell me if that, It's been a while. There's been constant updates along that time, so there's actually been a lot of new features added. But since that fundamental change from 8 to 9, that's a while now.
Okay.
So we're kind of in a slightly different one now. So we've still got our push 2 and we've got Live 10. So we've got it on the screen here. You can see it's kind of superficially similar. It's had a few cleanups and things in the graphics, but as far as guitar players, you know, go, that's what we're here for today. There's some important new things. First of all is a new device called Pedal, which I can load in here. I can actually load it from push if I. Let's just do it off here. Rambling. I can't even find. Oh, there we go. Pedal. So we got Pedal, and that's a non-track. We'll have a look though. So Pedal is like obviously again we're sticking with these literal kind of naming conventions, and that'll give you overdrive, distortion, or fuzz. These are modelled on specific real-world pedals.
Okay.
Whether it's tactful to mention those or not, I don't know. But the interesting thing for me with this is I do a lot of guitar stuff where I'm just singing and playing guitar without any drums or bass or anything, and it's got quite a lot of you've got a really convenient bass boost here.
So it's very simplistic.
Yeah, you can really manage your low end with this,
and obviously you can see that all on the push as well.
Yeah, so if you go to push, it's right here.
So if I just to play
we can see all the parameters for that, and that's reflected in what's happening on screen here. And if I take the trackpad and move, that's also
so it all corresponds with each other.
Yeah, it's a complete two-way thing. They're never going to fall out of sync with each other. So we have Pedal, then we have Echo as well, which is another one. So we could go in here and we could browse for our audio effects, and we can choose Echo, which is there. And again, we could choose a preset for that. We could just load that, and that's a delay that can do. You're going to get your analog.
The display.
Yeah, it does
really
show.
Cool. It's all responsive, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, it does reflect. Again, it's reflecting what's happening on the screen. This is a big part of the tweaks to the existing devices and also the new devices. You're getting a lot of integration with push, with what's happening on the screen on push 2, especially. So this will give you like tape delay type sounds. You've even got controls where you can bring in extra noise and so on. You know, you've got a character selection here. You see we've got gate, which is actually quite useful for this as well. We've got ducking, we've got a compressor, we've got noise, we can dial up noise, and we've got wobble for that more tape, kind of old tapes playing around. So there's a lot of stuff in there. Also, it can go very clean if you want it to as well. So that's a really good one. I found I can just load that and get going quite quickly with guitars. The first thing I do always though when I load this, when I load these, is to bring down the dry wet, because it always seems to default to be way too high for me. But that's just
so you obviously can do that straight from the unit.
You can do it. You can do it straight from push as well. So again, if you're playing, I mean, a good way to have this set up is if you're standing playing, have it on like a stand. Have it on like a laptop stand or something, so it's right there. So you're not walking around the room all the time. That's the whole point of this. It's like a remote you can have in front of you.
Is there any way we could hear these? Yeah,
let's try and let's take them out of this track that I've incorrectly dropped them into. Let's see what I've got here. I've got so here's our track with that little thing that we played before. So if we want to do something different, we could put pedal in the front of that. We can just drop pedal in there, And then perhaps what I do before we get into anything with that is I'll just choose a clean amp.
Okay.
So there's pedal, and actually, you're right there. So we could get you to play around with the controls here for that.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, let's have some more bass.
So if you put the sub on.
I'm trying another part maybe, so I'm getting a bit bored of hearing that one.
Yeah.
Let's just up the tempo a little bit as well.
Let's go back to the warping, isn't it? So it's all linked to the timing.
Actually, well, I'm not sure this one is warped. Actually, come to think of it, oh yeah, no,
no.
Warping is off. So again, even the time stretching stuff is kind of optional. So we just got to play it. So you should still be able to play around with it. So I'm finding that as soon as you start using this, the amps can be a little, sometimes the amps I think need a little work in here, but adding pedal has been it really does make it sound a bit more sparky and a bit more dynamic.
I mean, and all these can be used away from guitars as well. So people out there who are using keyboards, samples, you've got 3 or 4 different distortion types you can just layer on top of it.
Yeah, you can combine, you can combine different effects. Again, you can rack them up. So you've got parallel chains with different distortions.
Wow.
Whatever there's really no limit to that. But like I said, straight out of the box, this is kind of working a lot better for me personally than the previous arrangements. I'm tending to use a cleaner amp setting and then put pedal in the front.
Wow.
And like I said, because if you're doing like solo kind of guitar stuff, you've got a lot more freedom to have more low end than if you're playing in a normally in a band you have to dial that back a bit. But there's tons of bass here. As I said, there's a sub control as well.
So obviously we've got our distortion pedal or the pedal plugin. What happens if we put the echo on? How does that sound?
Okay, so let's put the echo on after that. I'm just going to drop that at the end here, and that's the default. That's the default. So again, I'll bring the dry wet back. I can do that on here as well if I want to control that from here. That's a bit of a funny. I mean, that sounds. We're really kind of going into by my standards, that's the world of sludge now. Without
distorted
bass.
echo world.
With all the bass on that as well. Yeah. It's pretty cool though. So
I mean, that shows how quick. Like that was 2-3 minutes just playing with the dials, not really knowing what you're doing as much.
So let's go back to the other sound. So if you go back to like a cleaner sound, turn up, and then you can hear the echo working a bit better. So again, it's really nice and atmospheric with clean sounds as well. So there's a lot of things you can do.
That's a really nice delay.
It's really nice. I mean, again, this isn't even one of the presets. That's just the default.
Just the default. So that goes way deeper than that. Yeah. I kind of really like to use the. I'm a bit. I like to tinker around a bit. So I kind of tend to load the default settings and then play around with them. Okay.
And only go to the presets if I need a specific thing. So. As far as other new stuff goes, if you're also interested in keyboards, there's a new synthesizer called Wavetable.
Okay.
And again, we can probably guess what kind of synthesis that employs. So maybe we should have a quick look at that if we've got time. And we can go straight to that from here, from push again. There it is. And again, we could, if we wanted to, we could go through all the presets in there as well. But we just hit load. That's going to put that into a new track for us.
Okay, obviously then that brings up push.
Yeah, so we can play that straight away. Again, as I said, we're just using the default sound. But you can see we've got all the controls for that laid out again before us on here.
So if I was... Really responsive in terms of the screen.
Yeah, it works really well.
Wow.
So you can see most of the parameters in here are available. We can go through the oscillators, the filters. You can really dig deep again from push. So again, probably if you're playing guitar and stuff, you're going to be quite busy. But certainly as a studio tool, it's really useful.
Yeah.
If you want to on here, you can actually even pop it out for a much larger view on here, so you can get a better look at what you're doing on here as well.
So it becomes like a full plugin then?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a very, very interesting, very deep addition.
It looks like it's going to probably be a really important part of 10.
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Wavetable. And really, we've just blatantly really skimmed the top. We've just shot
just
through
the surface of it. There's
really
much
fast,
more coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we really need to plug in some guitars and kind of get it working in real time at some point.
So Live 10 is on its way. That's great news. Obviously, that's not going to be until next year, is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So in the meantime, anyone who wants to get on board with Live 9, they're doing 20% off software from the 2nd of November, is it? I believe it's 2nd of November. So great time to get on board. If you get the software after that time, you'll get an upgrade to 10. So thanks for coming in, Martin. Obviously, we will do another video at some point going through 10, get some guitars out, get into it. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the Andertons YouTube Music Technology channel. If you're a guitar player, or you play bass, or a drummer, or you're into keyboards, you might like one of our other YouTube channels, and I'll put links to those in the description below. Anyway, if you'd like to find out more about the products we featured in this video, please click up here. If you'd like to watch another video from this channel, please click here. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt like the one I'm wearing, click down here. And lastly, if you'd like to subscribe to our Music Tech YouTube channel, please click down here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.